What is B2B SEO? For the most part, it's the same as regular SEO. It's just a difference of whom you're trying to reach. SEO is the science of reaching people via search engines. And so B2B SEO is the science of reaching professionals via search engines. That's all kinds of professionals. We'll look at this in another video, but B2B SEO often involves reaching people at the executive level, whether they are big C-level executives or startup founders. You're reaching leaders, you're reaching mid-level management, and you're also reaching practitioners. All with the intent of educating and informing and hopefully courting the affections of your professional audience. Now, B2B SEO is kind of like a cocktail with three main ingredients. There's on-page SEO, or what some people call content SEO, and that has to do with the stuff that you see on a given page that you want to rank in search engines. So this is the stuff like the page length. It's the sort of things like the title tag and things like that. You have off-page SEO, that's primarily links. It asks the question, what's happening on other parts of the internet that affect how the page in question ranks in search engines. And then you have technical SEO. Technical SEO deals with a lot of the stuff that goes on under the hood. So page load time and stuff like that. You're going to have the different ingredients mixing together, and so some things are going to overlap between these. So the way that you're presenting the content on your on-page SEO is going to affect how many links are driven to it. You make something really snazzy like an infographic, then that might court more links, which is off-page SEO, than say just the same old content that isn't all that remarkable or shareable. Wouldn't recommend making unremarkable content because, I mean, what are you even doing then? B2B SEO deals with answering three big questions. What are people looking for? How do we satisfy those people when they're looking for stuff? And then how do we signal quality to the search engines? Because these are the go-betweens when it comes to making sure that the stuff we make gets in front of the people we're trying to reach. So what are they looking for? When we're answering this question, this is where we see a lot of the stuff that's been part of SEO for a long, long time, like keyword research and figuring out who your personas are and what kind of people you're trying to attract to your website. We also have things that are emerging in the SEO conversation, like topics and problems. We'll get into how to build content around topics in another video. But that's something that's more and more becoming what SEO strategists and content strategists are looking at when they're saying, what are people looking for? The main thing that this question is trying to identify is search intent, because ultimately that's what search engines are trying to do. They're trying to match results to the thought processes and the basic intentions behind the words that people are typing into search engines like Google. Question number two, how do we satisfy those people? This is where you start getting into what types of content or what formats should we publish in. This is where we make decisions like, do we want to publish a tool like a free brand name generator, or do we want to do something that's more of a long-form guide that explains what something is and why it's important? Do we want to, this is where we explore what sort of depth of content do we want to get into? Is this a beginner's guide? Is this an advanced guide? That sort of stuff. This step usually involves looking at the competition. It should, because if you want to satisfy search intent, you want to know, well, what's already out there, what are people already finding, and then what are the gaps that you can patch up by making better content. The main ingredient here is empathy. If you can think like the people you're trying to reach, then that helps you create the content that they want to see, instead of just making self-serving content. For example, if you want to rank for omni-channel marketing because you have an omni-channel marketing software that you want to sell, then that's great. But people who are looking to learn more about omnichannel marketing and Googling things like what is omnichannel marketing or just omnichannel marketing, they may not be looking for an ad for your company. They probably don't just want to be told, omnichannel marketing is the thing that you do with our software, and that's why you should buy us. Now, they're probably trying to get some education because someone brought it up in a meeting and they're Googling it to make sure that they know what it means so they don't look stupid. Now that brings us to question number 3. How do we signal quality? And that's a matter of making sure that search engines can recognize the content we create and then say, this content is good, this content meets that search intent, and this content deserves to be up here at the top of the search results. Now, Google is the biggest search engine, and so that's what most of us think about when we're trying to send quality signals. But there are other search engines. There's Bing, there's Pinterest. Different search engines are going to look for different signals when they're trying to guess the quality of a certain piece of content. And so this is where we get into things like, well, how long does the content need to be? What's the vocabulary that should be in that content that signals we know what we're talking about? There are things like the links that are pointing to that piece of content, both off-site and links from other pages on your own site. There are engagement metrics. How long are people on the page? You have page load time. There are all these factors that search engines take into account when they're evaluating whether or not something deserves to be ranked on their results pages. And so that's the other question that we need to answer. So we're looking at, what do people want to find? How do we give them what they're looking for? And how do we signal quality content to the search engines? So there you have it. Now you know what B2B SEO is. I'm Jeffrey, I work with Overthink Group, and I hope this was helpful.